And good afternoon. Welcome into Ep.7, Season 3 of the official Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy podcast, the Buffaloes podcast, here on your home for Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy coverage on G-Show Productions on gshow.ca. I'm your host, of course, Graham, the G-Show Forsyth. We're brought to you by Terraco, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Movement Fitness and Performance Goaltenders, along with Terraco, and of course, we're also powered by all of Pilot Mountain's sponsors and partners, and we're also one of those partners, which is pretty cool to know that we're able to be a part of the Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy family in more than one way, just not doing a podcast, but being a partner with them now as well. And a man that is always very passionate about partnerships and sponsorships and just this academy in general. And Gordie Tumilson is going to be joining the show coming up to, well, not start things off. He's going to be second up on deck in this episode, as we're going to start off with a player from Calgary, Alberta, who's chosen to take his hockey development, his young hockey career over to small town Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy in Liam Rebillaco, first year defenseman on the U17 prep. Buffalo's on this year's squad. Liam has had really nothing but great things to say about his teammates and just his experience so far at Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy, even though things are just getting started here. We're only in October and there's still plenty of season to keep going. There's still a lot of season remaining, so it was great to get just an insight in terms of how things are going from a player standpoint with this U17 squad by getting a chance to speak with Liam Rebillaco from Calgary, Alberta, defenseman this season for the Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy's U17 preps. Join the show next. And it's number 7. On defense for Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy's U17 prep program, and Liam Rebillaco joining this edition of the Buffaloes podcast. Liam, thanks for joining me. Of course, you're from Calgary, Alberta. You've made the move out to Pilot Mountain, Manitoba this year to continue your development in the sport. Take me through what came down to that choice for you to choose this as your next place to play.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for having me. And
Of course.
I saw Pilot Mound as a place where I could develop on the ice and also off the ice as a human being. And I feel like with all the resources here and coaches and teammates too, that I can really take my next step in my game.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it's been talked about so much throughout the past from players that play here is in terms of just growing as a person, coming to Pilot Mountain has been a great benefit in terms of being able to do that and to mature. What's it been like so far as you've gotten into the regular season? Of course, some exhibition play beforehand, getting a bond with the boys a month prior, leading up to, of course, the first games. But yeah, take me through what the experience has been like so far, truly.
Yeah, it's really fun, honestly. Like everything I could really ask for, just always being with my team at school, the dorms, especially at the rink. It's really fun and helps us build our team chemistry pretty quickly, and everyone's pretty tight together.
What would you say has been one of the best moments so far? Has it been a certain bus trip? Has it been maybe I see a Blue Jays hat hanging up? You boys got to watch the game together
Oh,
yesterday. Is that
yeah,
up there so far?
yeah, we did watch it, but just I think best moment was probably at home beating that top rank edge team from Calgary, and this is a pretty good feeling as we are kind of the underdog going into that game, but we pulled through with that win, and everyone was just really happy.
Yeah, and I mean, from a player perspective, to be able to go out and beat such a great team early on with a team that, of course, has some experience coming back, but a few new names, including yourself, to this team. How huge would you say that win in particular has been for this group's confidence at this point?
Yeah, that was real huge. Just winning a game like that's obviously a tough battle, and showing the league, like sending a message, showing who we are was, you know, huge for us, showing that we can play with the big dogs.
No doubt. And of course, that win against the Edge coming over a week ago at this point, back on Saturday,
Yep.
October 11th. But getting to continue on last week, two wins against Indigenous Sports Academy, another bout of confidence for this team being able to go out and beat a team like that. But yeah, take me through this past weekend of action, how you felt this group was able to continue on that momentum that was built up from that win against the Edge.
Yeah, this weekend was pretty good. Just playing like a pretty weaker team, but we can't really underestimate them because every year is a new year. So showing that we play the same way against everyone and we don't take anything lightly, it's pretty good for us.
Yeah, and I feel like that's exactly how head coach Rick McConnell wants this group playing. What's that been like to be able to learn from a coach with so much experience that has been able to guide a few teams to championships in this program, most notably last season, being able to win the second tier in the CSSHL playoffs? What's that been like and to learn from him so far?
Yeah, learning from him, it's been really good. He's a great coach with lots of experience, like you've just mentioned, and with so much wisdom and just knowledge of the game. It's perfect for us. Like him and Danny teach us so much about the game and really helps with us when we're playing against tougher teams.
Yeah, and of course, some tough competition coming up here soon. Teams like the Edge once again, RHA Winnipeg coming up this Saturday, but lots of games left to be played is basically, I guess, the big point here, and lots of season to continue to be able to improve. Coming from Calgary, Alberta, of course, going into Pilot Mountain this year, what would you say you would tout yourself as a player, and how has that kind of pulled through so far in terms of how you play the game as a defenseman?
Yeah, I would like to say I'm a two-way defenseman. I try to move pucks quick and just coachable and do what I'm told from my coaches, and accepting my role is biggest thing for me right now as a first year in the league. So
Do you feel like that in itself too is just a sign of growing in your maturity, knowing that you're coming into a new situation, and even though, like you said, you feel you're a two-way defenseman, how you feel that you're ready to kind of play in any role your coaching staff, your teammates ask you to?
yeah, for sure. It's been real quick where I've matured and accepting my role, and just playing through that is honestly it's best for me right now. Learning from my older teammates and just seeing what can happen down in the road because I know this year it might not be my role next year. So
For
just
sure. And I mean, even then, even though you don't have a goal so far through the 10 games that have been played in total for this team, you've been able to get on the board with a few assists. How huge has that been for your confidence personally, knowing that even though it is a new situation, you're being asked to play in maybe some new roles, that you're still able to contribute on that offensive side of the puck?
yeah, it's pretty huge for me getting a couple points. Um, this year it's been a little rough start with the points, but we'll get up there. Just keep plugging through and working hard, and I know good things will come eventually, and it'll pile up.
For sure. And I mean, you are a defenseman first, and I feel
Yeah.
like you've been doing a pretty darn good job of holding things down in your own, and especially the this whole group in total right now is everyone's kind of been contributing in different ways. But grad year is going to be 2028, so a few years for you to be able to maybe spend time in this academy to be able to grow. What's going to be the big goals for you, I guess, moving forward as this season goes along? Is it along the lines of what we've talked about already, or maybe something that hasn't been brought up yet?
Oh yeah, like being my end goal for like my hockey career would probably move up, play junior, maybe NCAA, and but just right now, like try taking it day by day. Um, is pretty good for me knowing like that I can't look too ahead into the future because then I'll get too stuck on that. But maybe like next year, I'd really want to have a letter that's a huge thing for me, and I feel like I can do that next year with
Well,
this.
yeah, for sure. And I mean, it'll be your second year in the academy. You're just getting started this year, Liam, and great to know that you've had yourself a fun time down there in Pilot Mountain, Manitoba so far. Gotta ask you this before I go. What's been, I guess, the biggest differences from, big town Calgary, Alberta going over to small town Pilot Mountain?
Uh, probably because I'm a big city boy, so I guess instead of going to eat out with my friends on a Friday night, we're going to the rink, shooting some pucks, which isn't bad. I like it a lot, so I can't complain.
Hey, just a lot, much more hockey for you this
Yeah.
season coming up and moving forward in your time with Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy. Wishing you and the boys the best of luck coming up at home this weekend against RHA Winnipeg, as I'm sure revenge on this team's mind, knowing that they knocked you off very first game of the season.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, right on. Can't wait to be able to see how that one plays out. And by the way, everybody, if you can't make it down to Blackjack Stewart Arena, you'll be able to see Liam and his Buffaloes competing against RHA on Flow Hockey. Liam Rebillaco, number 7 first-year defenseman of the Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy Buffaloes U17s, joining me here on the Buffaloes podcast. Liam, thanks for taking the time.
Thank you for having me.
And Liam Rebillaco joining this edition of the Buffaloes podcast, brought to you by Elite Prospects, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Terraco, Goaltenders, and Movement Fitness and Performance, as well as all of Pilot Mountain's lovely sponsors, which also includes Goaltenders. As, yeah, in terms of just big news from around the academy as we move on here from the Liam Rebillaco interview. By the way, for Liam, he is, of course, from Calgary, Alberta, graduating in 2028, so he's got a lot of time left to grow here. And for a U17 team right now, that has been really strong to start off the season. Me and Gordie Tumilson have a great conversation about that program, which that'll be coming up soon, but yeah, just the amount of players that are stepping up for this team, being led by a player in Maddox Ramage right now, who it's his first year playing up in this level, as he spent last year playing U15 and even got some recognition of being invited to U16 tryouts, and is going to be, well, playing some sort of role. We'll get into that with Gordie Tumilson coming up next in terms of the role that he's going to be playing with the U16 WHL Cup Team Manitoba squad, which of course that's going to be starting up today. But yeah, I think that for Liam Rebillaco, the fact that he's been able to contribute points so far with 3 assists while also contributing to a back end that's been pretty strong so far for Pilot Mountain this year. Of course, as a team, they only give up 1 goal against Indigenous Sports Academy this past weekend. So yeah, great to hear that things are going well for Liam, and to just see on paper too and on the stat sheet that he's contributing and helping out his team in many ways to start off this season. Speaking of some shout-outs to some Buffaloes, for U18 goaltender in Adam Korshen, he ended up having 53 saves on 56 shots in their huge win against Edge this past weekend. And as for, well, Cole Landerville, selected to, of course, Team Manitoba's U16 WHL Cup team, which they're starting up their tournament today in Red Deer, Alberta, as Cole looking to be a huge part of this year's WHL Cup team success. A province that has won a WHL Cup just a few years ago. Cole hoping to be a big part and big contributor in the hope of, well, I'm sure they have championship hopes. Why wouldn't you if you're a province competing in the WHL Cup, right? Knowing that Team Manitoba has a chip on their shoulder too, maybe being looked at as the underdogs. I think that suits this province well, and for Cole Landerville, can't wait to see what he's able to do. And awesome to see another Buffalo player on a WHL Cup team, as a few years ago on the gold medal team. Former Buffalo, now Prince George Cougar in the WHL in Carson Carroll's contributed big time in that team's championship run that season. And speaking of Cole Anderville, well, he was recognized by the CSSHL for a fantastic goal that he scored over the weekend with his U18s. Take a look. And just absolute stunning skill on display there from Cole Anderville. Unselfish play, passing it off after he gains the zone, going pretty much end to end, and he doesn't give up on the play. He's still searching to be a threat. Any opportunity he gets, and the biggest threat would be for him to go to the net, and he's able to get a stick on that puck, redirecting it past the goaltender to give his team another goal on the board there, as Cole ends up scoring a beauty in the celebration while they're in there, as well as I think that Team Manitoba would love to see a lot of that from Mr. Landerville this upcoming week, as of course the WHL Cup starting up today on October 22nd, as Gordie Tumilson is going to join the show next, and we're going to talk about the U18s, the U17s, the U15s, U18 female program, and we're going to be talking about their upcoming games as well as their past week/weekend of results. Can't wait for you guys to watch it. First, we're going to send it to a commercial, as Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia's commercial is going to play, and then Gordie Tumilson joins the show next here on Episode 7, Season 3 of the Buffaloes podcast.
Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia offers the widest selection of sports cards and signed memorabilia in the city. For dedicated casual and new collectors, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia has everything a collector could ask for. Everything we sell is stored with care, and with help from our knowledgeable team, we'll help you find exactly what you're looking for. We carry Upper Deck hockey card brands like Series 1 and 2, the Cup, Ultimate, SPA, and plenty more. So what are you waiting for? Come down to Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store.
Gordie Tumilson back on his weekly segment to talk all things Buffaloes hockey, from results to upcoming games. Gordie, like you said, I think it's pretty fitting. I'd say the theme of our segment is probably competition in terms of how competitive, most of the teams were in the academy this past weekend. We'll start with the U18 male prep Buffaloes, who ended up battling against three really good programs and keeping the score close in every single game, even coming away with the win. Take us through, another type of statement weekend, knowing that this team's here to compete with anybody all season long.
Yeah, the U18 guys have just, they didn't have, we talked about this, they didn't have an exhibition game and went out and they've kind of like been 500 around every weekend. So that's, they're playing at a pretty good clip here against all kinds of different competition, and some of the more senior and typically the more powerful teams, winning one, losing two, but scores are close. And so the overall, we talked about this theme of it being competitive. Well, this U18 team has been competitive all year long. They haven't been blown away, which has been the case in the past. They've lost some games, they've won some games. And it looks like they're on a pretty nice track, and it's not just the a lesser competition that they're beating, or they're not staying close to. They lost a game on yesterday, on Monday, an afternoon game at the Pilot Mountain Arena on a Monday afternoon. Who knows? It's like a baseball thing, Monday afternoon baseball in Chicago. There's no lights, but anyway. Yeah, and they had all school kids there. Like, there's about 500 people in the building. It was crazy, and there was a lot of noise. They lost 2-1 to the Calgary International Hockey Academy, which in the past it's been 10 goals. So, they're doing something right with this. And I congratulate Mason and head coach Anthony Florentino to for getting these kids ready and doing the scouting that they did and getting the players they got in. Great stuff, and so their heads are held high even in losses. So good on them. It's been nice to see they're in the games, and that's all we can ask for is to be competitive. And the kids, of course, are learning all the time anyway. So bonus for us on that one.
Yeah, it was great to also get to learn some more insight into this team last week, Gordy, getting to talk with Hector, Nolan, two players of theirs, Nolan Harding as well as Hector Capitanov, but also their head coach in Anthony Florentino. And he told me a story that I think is pretty great, is that
Mhm.
after they came home late, they're right back on the ice. Seems like there's a lot of hunger in this team and a team that is a new group. As Anthony told me last week, no real returnees to this year's team. Of course, there's a player like Cole Landerville that's been able to make his way up from the U15 ranks into this program, but makes it even that much more impressive and that much more exciting knowing there's a lot of passion from a group that's just getting to know each other.
Well, after 4 years, it's a time that this team got better and showed it. And some of the kids that have graduated from our U17 program in Cole coming from U15, great good news. And being able to get more scouting, we've become just a little bit better at our scouting and our player recruitment program. So one step at a time. It's a slow process. 10 years from now, we might be the juggernaut, but or maybe even 5 years. But at the end of the day, it's improvement every year, and this team is proving us right in the what we're doing and how we're going about it. And I know Anthony's getting better at coaching too. Anthony's a new guy in coaching. This is his third year, and he's getting a lot better at what he needs to be able to be doing. He's a great player coming, in the Buffalo system, being drafted in the NHL, etc., playing in Europe. Great player, but at the end of the day, that doesn't make you a great coach. And so he's become a much better coach, and he better off knows what he's doing now. So good on the whole group to be more competitive and in every game, and that's all we can ask.
Yeah, and also he spoke about Ty Barlow, who's a 2008 graduate, so 2010 born player like Cole that's been logging some
Yep.
hefty minutes on the back end so far. You love to hear about stories like that, and also love to see that this team is going to be at home for a little while here coming
Yes.
up, as they'll be going up against the Thunder Bay Kings 3 days in a row from the 24th to the 26th coming up this weekend, Gordy. Thunder Bay, of course, we talked about them on the girls' side last year at U18. What's the, I guess, scouting report for this male side coming into good old Blackjack Stewart Arena for the upcoming weekend?
They've got a good team. I don't think it's a powerhouse. Typically, they put together good quality teams. They're tough. That's a tough place to play. I know going up there playing as a coach in AAA and whatnot years back, and going in there, it's a tough place to play. And they're really a strong physical presence. Maybe they'll take off a little bit because they don't get some of that home ice refereeing and of course living conditions, etc. But at the end of the day, they're going to be a good test for our guys, and they're usually a good quality team. That's what I understand from all reports. So we're looking for great competition on the weekend, and seeing our guys get a couple of wins hopefully, and carry on with the rest of the season.
Yeah, and of course, all of those games for people that can't make it down to Blackjack Stewart Arena and Pilot Mound will be seen on Flow Hockey. As for the U17s, Gordy, they had a couple of matchups against Indigenous Sports Academy and came away with 10 goals in total over the weekend and only one goal against this U17 team. It's early in the season, but so far looking like they're on a roll here to start off, Gordy. Another competitive side.
Yeah, they've been competitive all year long. They haven't been mowed down by anybody other than maybe one game. But they've hung in there. And the Indigenous program has been always been good. And going up there, we typically, I think, if I can remember a little bit about what goes on in the past, it's usually kind of a split weekend. If there's three games, you win two out of three, or win one. You'd always win one. In this case, we won two, and boy, defensively and goaltending wise, it looked like we knew what we were doing, 3-0 and 7-1. And so those two U15 kids that have graduated into the U17 program, good on our goalie coaching team and Colin Fafra and myself a little bit, and then Rick McConnell trusting that keeping the kids in the program, they would be able to graduate up and play well. Well, they have and they stood their ground. They're learning fast. They're both goalies are certainly capable. Obviously, the rest of the team is capable of, and some of the graduates out of that U15 program beyond the goalies, same deal. They're catching on. So good hockey. We in our recruitment program we chase after great skaters or the best possible skaters and the best possible hockey IQ. Normally, those guys have got good hands and all the other things to go along with it. But if you've got those two things going for you, the skating and the hockey IQ, we can put a hockey team together because people know where to go, how to do it, and they figure it out pretty quickly. So, we're excited about this U17 team. Again, probably leading the pack of the four Buffaloes teams this year again.
Yeah, and really intriguing to see that Maddox Ramage continues on his success, 15 points in 10 total games so far to lead this team in total points. But it's not just Maddox putting the puck in the back of the net. Some strong returnees have been able to score. A lot of scoring by committee happening right now, and I
Perfect.
feel like that's exactly how Rick McConnell likes it, right? Knowing that this year's team, it's pretty deep, pretty skilled all around, like we've seen with some past teams with this U17 program.
Yeah, you're right on, Graham. Yeah, one guy can get hurt. I mean, I remember Maddox getting hurt last year towards the end of the season, coming to the playoffs, and we weren't sure he was going to be able to play. He had a little bit of a concussion. He missed 2 weeks, got back in. That was great. And he's a power forward. I mean, he's really a good player. I guess he doesn't need his little buddy Cole with him all the time. So good on Maddox to do that and form up with some other guys because you're going to play in different teams forever. So you might as well get used to playing with other people. And good for him to experience. He's experienced that Team Manitoba U16 program. I think he's one of the alternate guys. Didn't make the main team as Cole did, but he's certainly around that level of hockey. So good on Maddox. And yeah, and by committee, your best player goes down or a good scorer goes down. Guess what? Six other guys got to score one instead of one guy scoring six. And that's just fine with most coaches because that's what normally happens. You can't cover six guys, you can cover one. So good on Rick's team to be performing like they are and the way they are.
And I mean, it would be awesome to see a goalie goal, Gordie. I was gonna say
Oh,
goalies
oh,
also don't have any goals so far this
oh,
year, but
oh.
in terms of players, there's only five on this year's squad so far to start off the year that have yet to put the puck in the back of the net, which just speaks to the depth on this year's team. They get two big tests coming up. Well, I guess in the next two games, one big test for this upcoming Saturday is they'll be back in action against RHA Winnipeg at Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy's Blackjack Stewart Arena. RHA Winnipeg is going to be a revenge game for Pilot Mountain, given that, well, very first game on their schedule, RHA got the better of them 7-1.
Well, yeah, and that's boo, to the schedule makers. But you got to play an exhibition game. Well, maybe you don't have to ask Anthony Florentino, but if you play an exhibition game, you're playing a guy close at hand, and that's the Winnipeg guys, right? So, we're sort of forced into that little giddy, and of course, RHA's got some pretty good players, and they take full advantage of those opportunities when they get them. Yes, this will be a bit of a reconciliation game, and whatnot. So it'll be a closer game, I think. And I know that I'm not sure which goalkeeper's playing, but both of them owe RHA a bit of good work against them. So it'll be a fun game to watch again on Flow TV from beautiful Blackjack Stewart Arena in downtown Pilot Mountain, Manitoba.
Yeah, and I'm trying to take a look at the standings here just to
Yeah.
give everyone full type of outlook in terms of what's happening. We'll get to it later on in the show. We just know
Sure.
RHA, always a good team, and that
Yes.
matchup, of course, can be seen on Flow Sports coming up this Saturday, 2 p.m. puck drop from Blackjack Stewart Arena and Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy's home, as always. Gordie, for the U15s, another team, of course, we're going to be talking about here is they were in action this past weekend, and hey, for a team that came off of back-to-back big shutout losses heading into this weekend. Quite nice to see how throughout the past few games they've been able to keep things like the theme of this episode has been competitive.
That's right. Yeah, RHE's have got a killer team. They were really good last year. They're gonna be good every year because they're in Winnipeg. There's a ton of great players coming out of Winnipeg. I coach in that U13 Super Double A program that literally feeds the U15 program the next year. And man, there's some kids coming out of there that are unbelievable. And if they go into they go into the RHAs or ourselves. I mean, they're just super players, and kids in Winnipeg seem to want to stay in Winnipeg, and good on them. And so yeah, we're happy to be right close by. And look for the upset wins here, there, and everywhere. We didn't get one this past weekend, but the game was close. A lot of shots on our net. That's okay. Our goalies get better, and we're able to support our the rest of our team real well that way. So, yeah, we're getting better not only as the season goes by, but from season to season in all of our programs, save the girls program. We've struggled there just to continue that continues to struggle. But as far as the boys are concerned, we're getting far more competitive more often, less being skunked here and there, and so it's a really nice feature of our programs today.
Yeah, and you know what? Just for this U15 team, like from a player's standpoint, even if you're unable to come away with victories in these past few games, to know that back on the fourth and the fifth, they lose by big time scores, and these past few games, they're able to keep things closer against top quality programs. I mean, you played before, Gordy. How much wonders does that truly do for this group of young men's confidence to know that even though maybe those final results that you want as a competitor aren't there, you know you're making strides as a team altogether.
Well, you answered the question, Graham. I don't even have to answer it. The strides are being met. Players are getting better. Most of these players that we see here at Pilot Mountain have never seen this kind of competition before. They've never been up against 20 good players. They may have been up against two or three or four back home, wherever they're from. But when they come to Pilot Mountain, they're playing the CSSHL. They're playing 20 good players on the other team. There's no slouches. Our guys aren't slouches. They're AAA guys. They're pretty good guys, but the guys are coming against you're literally talking to the next WHL guys.
Yeah.
And we had four of them last year in our team. So when we played somebody else, they had to put up with Cole, Maddox, Boers, and Gavin. And that wasn't easy. That's why we went to the final last year. So at the end of the day, when you're a new player coming to a brand new program and you get all kinds of new people around you, and then you go and look at these other guys, these other teams have got 20 stellar players. Holy cow, there's never a break in the action. Yeah, good on our guys to start to step up and realize that and play hard every shift.
Yeah, and that's what it's going to take. Hard work this season to compete with these teams, and they get a bit of a break from CSSHL action this upcoming weekend. A bit of a home and home with the Estevan Bruins, as it'll be, well, first game in Blackjack Stewart Arena on Saturday in the morning, and then, of course, a road trip out to Estevan, Saskatchewan. Change of pace for this team, but Estevan, I mean, usually a pretty solid AAA program, I'd say. Hey, down in Saskatchewan. What are the thoughts heading into this one?
Sure. Well, the iconic Estevan Bruins,
Yeah.
like all those Saskatchewan teams, are just, you've heard their names forever, playing in either the Dub or in Saskatchewan junior hockey, and the players that come out of there. So there you go. And we're going to have two teams wearing the same colors. I don't know how they're going to distinguish between one another. You get
True.
the Bruins colors coming at you from one side, and our colors are exactly the same. The uniform design is going to be a little different. We've got a Buffalo, and they got a Bruin. I'm not sure who would win that battle, a Bruin or a Buffalo. If there was a head-to-head, who knows, right? But
Yeah.
anyhow, the hockey will
Yeah.
be good. I'm expecting our guys to take it to them a little bit this weekend, and I think our guys think that too. And if they can play like they play against the rink and these other good teams, they can bring their game, keep their game up, and not play down a notch. Not to say Esteban's bad, but they're not going to be as good as RHA. So you don't have to play down at that level. Play up here, best at your best. I think we can take two.
Yeah, and might be an important lesson, right? That yeah, I feel like you don't need reminding, but it's the psychology of the game sometimes when you see another opponent that may not be on the same level as the opponents you play in your mind. Sometimes teams tend to play down. Hopefully that not the case this weekend for the U15s who continue to get better and better. And hey, Gordy, maybe an idea is introduce a third alternate jersey, so maybe we don't have mix-ups like this. Potentially, we'll see what happens in the works there as
It's
Pilot
all
Mountain
about the
continues
budget,
to
Graham. It's all about the
exactly.
budget.
So we'll see down the line what that may look like potentially. But as for the U18 female group, Gordy, they were back in action for a single game against RHA Winnipeg. Of course, they get back in action for two games this upcoming weekend. But yeah, for this group, thoughts from another tough matchup against RHA in Winnipeg.
Yeah, we're outmanned. That's all there is to it. The players are as good as they are at the moment. They're getting better. That might have been a 5 goal difference more than it was as it was if a month ago or a month and a half ago. So yeah, they're lessening scores, but it's hard for those new kids to get their skating up to speed, and that's where we are. And I'm part of the major part of the recruitment program, and we've really struggled. So this is not a blame on the girls. The kids that show up here and play really hard, and not a blame on the coaches, and not a blame on the recruitment people. We're trying really hard to find kids that are great skaters or really good skaters that have the IQ to take them where they got to go rather than have to figure it out, by going on the blackboard. And you need that natural hockey IQ stuff. And we just don't have enough girls to do that. So the ones that are here as in teams in the past, the last 4 or 5 years, they just try hard and they work hard and they get better. They get better by the mid end of the season. They're starting to compete pretty well against these bigger and better teams. But we need to do a better job to help our coaching staff and the rest of the girls on the team, our recruitment program. And we started that already. We've started to work on that 2 or 3 months ahead of time already, Graham. So,
Yeah.
we know where we've got some weak spots and we can't sit on our laurels at all with the three boys programs. Just because they're getting better doesn't mean next year, if we don't continue to work hard, that we won't get them. So we're going to continue to try and find that secret formula of finding best players for our teams.
Yeah, and I mean the programs they've been going up against, right, as of late specifically, like Delta
Yeah,
Hockey Academy Black, OHA
yeah.
Black,
Played
Shawnee
well there.
High
Played those two
School.
guys.
Yeah, played well against those two
Yeah.
teams. And then of course Balmoral Hall, who we talked about last week.
They're champions. I
They're
mean, there you go.
champion, and of course RHA Winnipeg has always been a tough team to play at this level. But going up against OHA Edmonton and Nax this upcoming weekend, and going into it, what do you feel like are going to be, I guess, the moral victories this Buffalo's team is searching for, right? Looking to build up confidence any way they can as a group, knowing they're going up against tough competition again.
Sure. Well, confidence. That you take that word and plunk it in every sports person in the world. Doesn't matter what sport it is. If a player's got confidence, that now you're going to get the best out of them. And if the player lacks confidence, okay, so it's the work hard in practice. It's the gaining the hockey IQ that puts you in the right place instead of the wrong, puts you on just the right side of the stick, when you want to check the stick or do something like that, or block a shot, get in the lane probably, go just miss the lane by an inch. It's all of those things that go on that they haven't experienced enough of back home. So when they come to us, it's kind of like, okay, we got to ramp these kids up. And it's not unfair to them because, and I want to make sure everybody, and I say this every week, and I'm going to say it every week again, the kids get better. And they all end up going up. All these girls' kids, they go to college every one that graduates gets picked up by a college. It's amazing because they know how hard they work at Pilot Mound. They know the maturity level of the kids coming out of Pilot Mound. They know the education level. Julia Schoonbart and Alex, our goalkeeper from last year. Uh,
Tumilson. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, both of those kids were not, they left us without being, well, they're not superstars. Julia becomes rookie of the year in her team, and Alex Mills becomes, rookie goalie for the entire bloody league. I mean, I'm sorry, but, that's what we develop. And it's unfortunate that we can't get it out of them sometimes in our own program, but people see that in them. They see what we do with the kids. So, if you're listening and you know some girl that is looking to get better, they're going to get better. And they're going to get a good education. They're going to do all of those things, and they're going to have great friendships for the rest of their lives with kids that come from not just their neighborhood, from literally all over North America. It's a wonderful experience for them.
Yeah, and of course, like it's a credit to Pilot Mountain too, right? And the competition they go up against and the values and the skills
Yep.
that are instilled in these players for them to go out and thrive in other places. And I mean, the football terms, Gordy, like ask New York Giants fans, and they'd probably agree with this. They're two players, they're notable ones that have left the past two seasons, go out and have plenty of success in other places. So
Sure.
that's a different sport that we're talking about altogether, but it implies to every sport. I feel like it's
Sure.
really truly about that environment, and it's great to know that this group is working hard to get better day in and day out in this environment in Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy. Gordy, we'll finish off with some marketing stuff. What's on tap today to talk about in terms of that? You had mentioned some sponsorship stuff.
Yeah, I'm pleased to announce that, well, two of our two featured guys over the weekend were Treble GIE Law offices in Crystal City and Alliance Accounting. We're both our Drop the Puck sponsors. And on the Monday game, they had 500 people watching, which would be a thrill. And you get your picture taken, and so our sponsors are being recognized. Their picture goes in the newspaper, goes on social media, and we like to promote them. And we just the other day signed up Co-op, Pembina Valley Co-op. Has just joined us as a sponsor, so we've been looking forward to having them on board, and we'll get to see them drop the puck hopefully down the road here pretty soon. That's good. We're looking for more sponsors. We're looking to have more fun around the rink and promote more people in the Pilot Mound area.
For sure. There you are from Gordie Tumilson. Check out, of course, those sponsors and check out Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy at their website, pilotmountainhockeyacademy.com, to find out more about them in general. And it's always great catching up with you, Gordie. We'll do this again next week.
Great stuff, Graham. Thank you.
And Gordie Tumilson joining this edition of the Buffaloes podcast for episode 7 in season 3. And of course, we talked about the past week/weekend of action for teams in the academy and what's to come this week as well. By the way, there's no pictures from what I saw from Treble G Accounting and Alliance Accounting that have dropped the puck as we showed last week, but yeah, just shout out to Treble G as well as Alliance Accounting for going out there and supporting Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy and being recognized with hundreds of people in the building to see them drop the puck and hear and see the name of their brand, as Pilot Mountain's been doing a wonderful job of showcasing their partners and sponsors this year. Also getting some representation at the WHL Cup this year with Cole Landerville as he cracked the squad. There were 4 Buffaloes from that team, Cole including Gavin Hildebrand, Maddox Ramage, and not a Buffalo anymore, but a Buffalo last year, Brent Biors was also at one point in time in the running to be able to make this team. I know that Gavin Hildebrand, as me and Gordie Tumilson talked about a few episodes ago, ended up making it to the very last cuts onto the top 24 team. But it's Cole who ended up being the only player out of that group to end up making that team. Best of luck to him, as well as Team Manitoba in Red Deer, Alberta, as they take on some really good provinces in the WHL Cup this year, starting today and running until this Sunday. And as for Get to Know a Buffalo, they posted these last week. I haven't seen any this week, but from the U15s in Zach Clausen, U17s Griffin McGinty, U18 Samuel Olsen from Krefeld, Germany. I hope I was pronouncing that right, but great to see some European talent being represented here in Get to Know a Buffalo last week, and of course ending off with Kira Vines from the U18 female prep Buffalo squad. We're going to get back to you with more news from around the academy coming up after this short little break. And welcome back to this edition of the Buffaloes podcast. About to wrap this one up, but before we do that, a bit more news to show you from around the academy. And we start off this part of the podcast by taking a look at the U17s who were able to attend a Saskatoon Blades game WHL matchup as it was the Moose Jaw Warriors taking on Saskatoon. And as for the U17's getting to see some high-level hockey in action, as well as getting to take a look at a level which, I don't know, some of them may have a dream of making it into this league. I know for Liam Rebillaco, he said, and we can see him right there, actually, in the top row of male Buffaloes sitting there in this picture, but one of his dreams is to go out and play junior hockey after his time is done in Pilot Mound, or he said, NCAA, that'd be pretty sweet too. But with these players being able to actually see it in person, getting to see this level, that is truly special, and maybe it steers up some more aspirations from more and more players that might have been thinking they want to move on to that next level, but not sure what it may look like as of yet, right? So great that Pilot Mound there offering an opportunity to their players to go out and go to junior hockey games, the female side of things, getting to go play university teams and experience playing in university facilities. It's all part of that student-athlete experience that is experienced down in small-town Pilot Mound, Manitoba. It's great to see the U17s, like I said, getting to watch some high-level junior action. Saskatoon against Moose Jaw. Moose Jaw also has had some championship success in that league in the last few years. As for the U18s, last season they went on a championship run, ended up losing in the finals, but this season Anthony Florentino and his coaching staff, the group they've been rolling well to start things off, as their upcoming games will be coming up against 7th Fire, and that's all going to be in Pilot Mound Hockey Academy. 7th Fire Secondary School coming into town to take on the U18s. As for the male U15s, they're going to be taking on the Estevan Bruins in Pilot Mound on Saturday, Estevan, Saskatchewan on Sunday. Saturday's matchup can be seen on Flow Sports, on Flow Hockey, and of course Live Barn for Sunday's action there. As for the male U17s, they got only one matchup coming up this weekend. That's going to be on Saturday, as mentioned, against RHA Winnipeg. At home at Blackjack Stewart Arena. Game can be seen on Flow Sports, on Flow Hockey. And as for the female U18 prep Academy Buffaloes, they'll be taking on Northern Alberta Extreme and OHA Edmonton in Edmonton, Alberta this weekend at the GFL Twin Arena on Friday, and then the Royal Glenora Club on Saturday. Both games are afternoon matchups for this squad in Mountain Time. Be sure to check them out at Flow Hockey on Flow Sports. If you're not in the area, not able to attend, I'm not sure how many parents are making it out to these games, except for if say one of those players is from near that area or from that city or place that they're playing in, then yeah, parents, it's great to hear that they usually do make their way out to be able to watch their sons or daughters in action. And it's great to know that there's so many different services out there that are offering these capabilities to be able to watch games if you're unable to make it to the rink. As for ourselves here at G Show Productions, we live stream hockey games from different leagues around the province, and for this weekend coming up, we're going to be broadcasting a pretty big high school hockey league event, as we're going to be at the Hockey for All Center to cover the 2025 Husky Classic, which is put on by the Sturgeon Heights Huskies high school hockey team. They got boys and girls action that's going to be going on, so not just boys high school hockey, but 2 girls pools that are going to be in play. And it's the 39th annual edition of that tournament, a lot of history within it, and I'm just excited to get started. And we get started tomorrow, and all those details are on our EU screen platform, by the way. But yeah, as for us here at G Show Productions, we wish everyone who's taking in the action this upcoming weekend and week on Flow Hockey, on Flow Sports, the most of excitement when you're watching it. I hope that all these games are entertaining in terms of the hockey that's coming your way. Be sure to tune in across all games this weekend if you have an opportunity to on Flow Hockey to support your Buffaloes, Buffalo Nation. As for myself, Graham the G Show Forsyth, we'll be back next week along with Gordie Tumilson and some other guests to continue bringing you the latest from around Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy, how the teams end up faring this weekend, and what their schedule is going to be looking like the week after this one. But until next week, everybody, I've been your host, Graham the G Show Forsyth, peacing out and waving so long on another Wednesday for Episode 7, Season 3. We'll see you next week for Episode 8 in Season 3. And until then, as always, we'll leave you with Tyson Unruh, Juno Award winner, leaving us all off with his March of the Buffaloes theme. Take care, everybody. Thanks again for tuning in.